What is up, Sooner Nation? Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Hunter, how's it going tonight? Appreciate everybody being on here. Hey, before we get started with this video, though, this live, let's make sure you check out FanStop, fanstop.com. You can use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Make sure you do that. Officially licensed shirts. They also have the national championship shirts for softball, so go check them out. Hunter, recruiting picking up, heating up, portal heating up for softball. It's going to be a busy week, and I think it's just going to get busier. I mean, this was, the first few days has been kind of busy, but I think it's just going to keep heating up as the week goes.
Yeah, it's June, and that means that's official weekend visits over the entire month. You have the Brent Venables football camp still ongoing now. I think it's like day 4, the 4th camp of all of that. And now you have the softball portal closed yesterday, but I mean, there's some pretty big names in the portal and some visitors at some point, you would assume, to Patagasso and the Sooners.
Yeah, I expect a go Boomer tweet. I expect one tomorrow, Hunter. That's what I'll say. I think there will be a tweet tomorrow.
I don't know about tomorrow, but in the next couple days,
every time she tweets, everybody's gonna go nuts. They're gonna say Canada.
Oh yeah, I mean that's going to be. You saw it last night with Nebraska's head coach tweeting. I mean,
by the way, did you see what that was really about? There was
I did not.
There was a player that transferred in that used to play in Omaha in high school. I think is what that was about. So it was a good day for them, for Nebraska. Yeah, Hannah Core having another back surgery. Best of luck to her. I just hope she can come back healthy and get some playing time. Richard says no audio. We're pretty good on our end, so I don't know if anybody else having a problem or not. Baum wants that pitcher. Baum wants Kennedy. You and everybody else, Baum.
Yeah, I think every softball fan wants Najari Kennedy on their team.
Hey, Gray God, I think it's hilarious that this happened and they canceled the Ole Miss series. And whether it's because Riley didn't want to play or not, that's what's going to be said because of the way he left Oklahoma and all the rumors about why he left Oklahoma. He's never going to shake it. That's never going to leave him. And then you have that came out this morning. And then this afternoon, you have Isaiah Gibson, the number 1 defensive end in this class of 2025, decommitting from USC, which my thought the whole time was, why are you committed to USC in the first place, being a defensive end? I didn't think it would stick, and it didn't. So we'll see. Any chance he visits Oklahoma?
I mean, I thought that's what the tweet said, but maybe not. I don't think he's going to go to Oklahoma. I think he's going to go to somebody like Georgia. He has, I think, like 3 other SEC visits lined up as well. But yeah, not shocked that USC canceled that game. I mean, they've been trying to cancel this LSU game. They're still trying to cancel it, which, I mean, at this point in time, you cannot cancel that game. Like, it is the first weekend of September, and it's middle of June right now. I mean, you can't find another opponent with that short of a turnaround.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I lost you for a minute. Yeah, I agree on Gibson about Georgia there. Sorry about that audio problem there. Lone Wolf says Riley will take the next job open, Colorado. I disagree, Lone Wolf. I think Riley's next job will be NFL. I don't think he's going to go for another college gig. I think with all the transfer portal, I think I see him going NFL next, whether even being, maybe an OC in the NFL. I don't know.
That would be quite the fall off to go from a super young head coach at
But does he
Oklahoma.
want to do it? I mean, I don't know with him.
USC to, yeah, I don't know either. I mean,
He doesn't
I
seem
think
to like the pressure.
I think he'll stay at USC as long as they will have him.
Well, I mean, I do too. Topher says a commitment watch has been issued. Topher dropping some stuff there. Gray Gut says, Bobby, I agree. Just shocked we're taking 5 wide receivers this class. Are y'all talking about Cortez Mills? Is that the? I don't know.
Cortez Mills would be the 4th wide receiver.
Yeah, I think it was Mills and Choice is the other one that was mentioned by Bobby or Andrew.
Oh, he's saying and. Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. Hunter, you there? I don't know if it's your end or my end. Your camera,
I can't
was
tell.
off.
I can't tell either. So
your camera was off, so I couldn't tell. There was something I was going to get to here. Yeah, the Curtis Lofton thing. I mean, that's been. I guess it just finally became knowledge and public and everything. But yeah, that's huge for Curtis Lofton and OU. I think that's a big get for Oklahoma and a big promotion there for him. German sabotaging, Greg God says. Maybe. I don't know, Greg God. You may know more than us there. So, yeah. Matt says, so glad that Link Ryan Band-Aid was ripped off OU. I think a lot of people are. Zombies are not coming, Bomb. They are not coming. It's not the apocalypse. Somebody trying to sabotage our feed here. I don't know what's going on. Moser running the chat tonight. That's hilarious. No, we're good. We're good now. I think we're all good. So, yeah, these comments are funny rolling here. Bad weather. It's not bad weather. I don't know what's going on. But hey, how many softball portal commits do you expect this week? I'm going 2 this week. 2 to 3. I think they get 2 or 3 this week.
yeah, I would probably agree with you.
Yeah, I think so. 3 softball, Topher says. I just think that's the number. I mean, I got some names that I think we talked about them before that would be huge gets for Oklahoma, and I think good chance of it happening this week. I mean, here's the thing. You come visit Oklahoma for softball, you're already going to visit. You know what you want, and then you go make the visit. Chances are you're probably going to commit pretty soon after that. You know, I mean, what else is there? Where are you going to go visit Oklahoma and then go somewhere else? I would think a lot of these. What's that?
That's a possibility. I mean, if you, I think with maybe with a few of the players in the portal that Oklahoma could be in on, but it really just depends on the player situation, if visits were already scheduled and whatnot.
Hey, and Roth says, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Will Taryn Kern leave Stanford with Nija? She can't. Portal's closed. Portal is closed, and she's not a grad.
Technically, you could still see her name pop up tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be the 48 hours.
Very, very unlikely that Taryn Kern is in the portal this go around.
Yeah, I mean, she just transferred last year. So I do think Stanford and some of these Pac-12 schools are in a kind of hurting. They're hurting with all the travel they're going to. It's not good. It's, you know, a lot of people talked about it when they did these new conference realignments, and how it would hurt certain sports. Softball's one of them. I mean, the travel and baseball, the travel that's involved with that is a lot. And trying to do your academics and travel, it's a real deal, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not like football where you're traveling for really one game day and you're there probably 2 days, 1 day, 2 days, depending on where you're traveling to. Softball, baseball, I mean, even basketball, but mostly softball, baseball, you're there for the whole weekend. I mean, you're getting there a few days earlier. Uh, I mean, it's they're facing the punishments of conference realignment that was not made with them in mind. I mean, conference realignment was solely done for the interest of the TV markets with football.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. It does suck, Matt. Nigel Kennedy, Kirsten Deal, Audrey Lowry. I mean, I mean, it would be insane, but I'm not counting anything until I see that happen for sure. As far as the visitors for Oklahoma, you can confirm that there's visitors because Patty said there was going to be 3 to 4 visitors this week. Now, as far as names, I talked about last night, I'm not going to speculate. We dropped a video on some names that we thought were possible. I will say, I can go some names that are available. That's what I'll say. Some names that are available in the portal that I think would make sense, right? Hunter, I mean, you talk about it. I've talked about it before. Kaylee Wyckoff makes sense. They need that position. Catcher, experienced. Good player, Texas Tech. Other one, Riley Holtorf out of Washington. Middle infielder, shortstop, really good player. You got Abby Dayton out of Utah. Connections to Oklahoma with Gasso, not JT, but I just drew a blank on his first name.
DJ Gasso.
DJ Gasso, outfielder. I mean, those are just 3 names. There's a lot more. I'm just saying there's names out there that possibly will be visiting, and who knows who they are, guys. I mean, we've talked about pitching. Let's just say OU does not get Kennedy. They're going to have to get a pitcher or 2. Now,
what pitcher? They don't have to. They could get by without one, but I would be shocked if they didn't go that route.
Hunter, you got 5 spots. You're not spending 5 spots on middle infielders and outfielders and catchers. I think they use one for.
And there's also, I mean, Miami, Ohio had a ton of injuries recently. I mean, there's a lot of talented names in the portal. It's just a matter of kind of Oklahoma closing in on who they want. How many outfielders do you want to bring in? Middle infielders, that's another one. Do you want a catcher? You have 2 freshmen incoming. Do you want another pitcher? You have 3 right now. So you have 5 spots, kind of balancing it out on what positions you want to get, what players you want to get. Going to be interesting to see there.
And Chief, no, she is not, and I don't think she will. I don't think it's going to be like, I'm going to go visit Texas. I think it'll be pretty close to the vest, personally. But I think softball's a little different. You don't have the kind of the buzz that you do with.
It's not probably almost 100 media members reaching out to you trying to figure out for interviews, for visits. I mean, there's really only a handful of people that do those kind of things in softball. It's not
that's right.
On 247, Rivals, ESPN. Even now, they're getting back more of a presence in the recruiting game again, and then all the beat writers. I mean, it's not as covered as much as football recruiting is.
Plus, the players don't tweet out as much. I mean, like with visits.
No, they're a lot less active on Twitter.
Yeah, Hunter, S.J. Guerin. I mean, that's another option is you have S.J. Guerin and Lilio that could always, or Hodge even. Hodge has not went anywhere. All those players could still end up at Oklahoma if they choose to stay, but they're all in the portal right now. I don't know why S.J. I don't know. I don't know on that, Uncle Charlie. And I did think this year, I thought she could have played more. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I just don't think she got enough innings this year to really help her. I mean, technically, she was only a freshman this year because she redshirted her first year, so she has 3 years of eligibility. I don't know if it's just she wants to go somewhere and pitch.
Yeah, I think 9 appearances on the
Yeah, not many.
year. I mean, when she had opportunity, she was really good. I mean, a sub 1 ERA, I believe, or
Yeah,
really close to it. Just did not get the innings, and I mean, it's hard to do so when you have uh 6 pitchers on that staff, and 3 of them being seniors, and then Kirsten Deal with the way she was pitching. I mean, at one point she was top 5 in the nation in ERA, including that no against Tulsa at Hall of Fame Stadium. So yeah,
yeah.
SJ a little shocked by that, but I don't know the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and I'm sure EPL's looking pretty dang good in workouts, if I had to guess, Tyler. I thought it was interesting today seeing a little clips from with Jay Valai with, I don't know how you pronounce the name, Alaska, the younger brother of the one that's at OU.
Everson Malaska.
I believe so, but Jay Valai just looks like an elite coach, elite teacher of the game. I mean, they're going to have to. I think they're going to have to do a lot to keep him over the next few years. I think they've already done a lot to keep him, and I think they're going to have to continue because he's going to. There's going to be a lot of people wanting him every single year. I think he's
Well,
that good coach. He's a great recruiter. He's got all of it. Him and Emmett Jones. I mean, what are you going to do at Oklahoma? What are you going to do? You got all these coaches that seem to be elite recruiters and great coaches. You can't. I mean, how do you keep those guys just as a position coach? You know what I mean?
you just hope you win a national championship with all of them together. I mean, that's uh, the biggest thing. I mean, yeah, it's going to be difficult as time goes on. I mean, Jay Valai, look at where he's been before: Bama, Texas. Like he's been at a lot of big schools. This is Emmett Jones's first job at a blue blood. Was at Kansas, did really well there. Was at Tech before, did very well there as well. So, I mean, yeah, that the entire defensive and offensive coaching staff is very talented, and it's at some point going to be difficult to keep them all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, and retro, we talked a little bit about this last night and in the video we did over Kennedy. But I think top targets, we mentioned the SEC schools. I think Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, probably Florida State, I think could be an option. And then I know in outliers, maybe Nebraska. I mean, just close to home. You got Jordy Ball there. Those are just some teams that I would think would be options for her. I don't know. I just those are the teams I think would be pretty good options for Kennedy. And
Hey,
Monty, yeah, go ahead, Hunter.
yeah, I was going to get to Monty real quick on Oregon State. Do not think anybody from Oregon State is going to have really any sort of serious interest from Patty Gasso and the Sooners. I mean, you look at that roster, they have no 300 hitters, team batting average of 228. Then in the pitching department, team ERA of 3.6. Nothing that really stands out there. I would be shocked if there was any sort of serious interest from Oklahoma for a former Oregon State Beaver.
I would agree. And I would agree. And I think what OU is looking for in the portal, this is just my opinion. I think they're looking for players that have played, have some experience, that are maybe have 2 years left or a year left. I think you have a huge class coming in this year, and then next year a really good class. You have a lot of position players coming in, so I think it would be players that have experience that can step in and help the young freshmen. That's what I would think they're looking for. I don't think they're going to bring in anybody that's just played 1 year and has 3 years. I'd kind of be surprised by that.
I'm with you, Jay. I think it's going to be either 2 years. I think it's going to be consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Like multiple 2 year players with some experience and some time left, or the seniors or grad students kind of establish it at that. I don't think it's really going to be a mix of both. I think whatever uh, the first commit is kind of going to be the way they're going to go, if that makes any sort of
Yeah,
sense.
That's well put, Uncle Charlie. Experience and leadership. B. Moser, I don't think she's going to want to compete with Jordy for pitching time. Here's the thing: you could look at that two ways: competing for pitching time, or maybe resting my arm and I don't have to pitch as much, and I got another elite pitcher. I mean, so I think there's a little bit of both there, really.
Well,
Monty's.
and it's also
Go
your
ahead.
top two pitchers in the country going
Uh-huh.
together at that point. I mean, the confidence there that you are going to be a duo that's going to just carry their way to Oklahoma City is pretty high because I think, let's be honest, with that pitching staff, as long as their offense scores 3 runs, they're winning pretty much every
And
single
you didn't get to see what they could have been this year with just Jordy Ball. Nobody saw it because she got injured.
tackle
But hey,
injured for the
how
game.
if you're Jordy Ball, I mean, what a career! Can you imagine winning and pitching the way you did at Oklahoma, and then being the team to beat them? I mean, you talk about an epic career. To be the team that beat Oklahoma after you played for Oklahoma, I mean, for Jordy Ball, that would probably be the icing on the cake for sure for her. But Monty's asking about Brooks. Brooks is a monster. EPL is a monster. The O line, and I think Colin asked earlier, which O lineman do you have most confidence in right now? I think there's two names that come up to mind for me. It's Fabechi, and I think Hickman with his experience. I think I'm pretty comfortable with him at center. I think both those players I'm pretty comfortable with on the O line. Um, Also, we didn't talk about it yet, recruiting wise, but and I'm going to probably butcher the name, but Caden. I want to say Pizza. I know I'm not saying it right, Hunter, but a lot of smoke there after his visit to Oklahoma. Between K-State, Nebraska, and Oklahoma, I believe, and a lot of smoke there for Oklahoma. 4-star defensive lineman.
Yeah, top 40 at his position from North Dakota, West Fargo. Quite a few crystal balls, I believe, today for him. Was on campus recently. So, yeah, that's going to be one to watch.
Rob says if we get Riley Holtorf, Washington shortstop, does she start there? Uh, I would say yes. She's really good. I think the interesting thing with the middle infielders, guys and gals, is you got players like Tia Malloy, which she's outstanding and she can play multiple positions. You also have third base to fill. I mean, first base is the only first base and one outfield positions all you have coming back. Really. I mean, Sydney Sanders and Cassie Pickering. Everything else is wide open. So I do think a player like Riley Holtorf coming in would definitely be in the starting lineup. So I just think you'd fit everything else around her with players like Tia Malloy. We can go through all of Nellie McEnroe. I mean, there's plenty more that we've talked about. But
I think Nellie Mack is going to play at third base. I think she'll be the starting third baseman.
That's what I would pick too, Hunter.
And see, this is what's so interesting about the whole. If you bring in a middle infielder from the portal, I mean, you look at the freshmen that Oklahoma is bringing in. I mean, you mentioned Tia McCoy. I mean, there's Gabby Garcia, who's really talented. Katie McKay. I mean, the list is there's what 5 middle infielders in this class that they just signed. It is, I mean, Sydney Barker as well. Like it's kind of like, what do you want to do with that? It's a tough decision because, I mean, you have very talented freshmen incoming, the number one recruiting class in the country. And then you also have players that have proved it over the last few years at other schools in the portal. So, which route do they want to go?
Yeah, Corinna, and this is a good point. And I thought about this today. That's one of the reasons I think, as far as visits, I would think she's visiting ASAP if she's going to Oklahoma. I think it would be pretty quickly on somebody like that. That I think they. What's that?
I'm trying to remember real quick. Sorry. Last year with Peyton Monticelli, remember she was on Team Great Britain last year. I can't remember how that all went down, if it was a visit before or visit after.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head. I know what you're saying though. That is a good point. Uh, Mark says start the freshmen, let them learn in the game. Don't bring in a second-rate talent. Here's the thing though, Mark. The ones we're talking about are not second-rate talent. We're talking about players that were all Pac-12 first team, all Big 12 first team, all I mean, great players in their own right. So I don't think we're talking about second-rate. Now you do have, if you talk about freshmen, that is the route Texas kind of took over the last 2 years. Texas has done that. They played their freshmen and let them grow. Now, they couldn't beat Oklahoma when it mattered, but they did have a really good year both years. But I do think you have to get some more players on this roster. So I would lean that they're going to get experienced players that have played rather than more young talent. That's just my opinion. And I think an experienced player here and there that's a really good player will help this team get to where they need to be next year.
Yeah, and then you also have it. I mean, if you remember a few years ago, look at the talent that Oklahoma lost, freshman wise. Are they going down that route again? I mean, Jocelyn Erickson just won SEC Player of the Year. Sophia Nugent, starting catcher for the Vols. So I don't know. It's a tough decision. I mean, that's I'm not the one making the decision, and that's probably a good thing because that's
Yeah.
a lot of options you have to evaluate there.
Yeah, Lori's talking about Jackson Arnold throwing an interception. I did not see that. I guess that was on Twitter or YouTube or something. I didn't see it.
It might have been the Sammy Omashingo
Oh,
interception from
yeah,
a
yeah,
while back. I'm not sure, just kind of from what I can gather in the comments.
yeah. And this is a great question here. Do you think it matters to a pitcher like Kennedy if the catcher has experience or not? That's it. That's an interesting point. I'll say this: it may not matter to Kennedy, but it might matter to coaches. I mean, I, I don't know. I think Kinsey Hansen, what she did behind the plate, it's going to be hard to replace, and especially I think hard to replace for a freshman. I think that's big shoes to fill, huge shoes, obviously. But they got two really good freshmen coming in, but that's a different animal, man. Different animal. Um, yeah, I agree. You don't. That's a fine line, but that's what Patty's done so good, guys. Is she's really balanced it out. Like when you get portal players, I do think this though. I do think this last year with what they brought in the portal. I mean, you look at it. You know, Peyton Monticelli didn't pitch a ton. I was expecting her to pitch more innings, right? Didn't pitch a lot. I'm trying to think who else from last year. Ludlam really once the season got going, didn't pitch. I mean, didn't play a whole
Her,
lot.
the big chunk of her plate appearances came when Kinsey Hansen was
That's right.
injured, and after that, I mean, it even with Sydney Sanders struggling at times, she did not uh, get many more at bats other than when Oklahoma would be up by a good amount of runs, and you're kind of just subbing everyone in and giving Hansen a break behind the plate.
Yeah. 10 interceptions too much for Jackson Arnold. Over under 10, Hunter. I got it at 9. That's my pick. 9 interceptions.
I was gonna say probably 10, maybe 11. I think
Is
he'll
that too
risk
much?
it
Is that too
some.
much?
If you're winning games, it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I mean, I think you have to see kind of the touchdown ratio with it, the timeliness of the interceptions. I mean, are they interceptions in the fourth quarter when you're down by 7 or down by 3, needing a drive to go win the game and just throwing an interception? Then yeah, that's an issue. But I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you want a quarterback to be a risk taker and try to thread the needle some.
Yeah, that's true. I know, Corinne, I know she's good friends with Pickering. I think she'd be a great fit. I do. Penix had 11 last year. Hey, Baum says 6 interceptions. Bobby's taking the over. Mess says Jackson Arnold will be invited to New York City for the Heisman ceremony. Mess, I would hope so if OU's 12-0, which you say every night, OU's 12-0. And if so, there's no way Jackson Arnold would not be invited to Heisman if they're 12-0. And Greg, I would agree with you on this. I do think, and I do think in the SEC, I think that's probably, if you look at the defenses, and if you want to say there's weaknesses in some of the defenses, I do think you can, some of the defensive backfield, uh, you know, they're not just people were scoring on them. I'll say that. And SEC Mike was on our show and he talked about it. The SEC defenses aren't what they were 5 years ago. But I think that's because the offenses are a lot better. That's what I think it is. I think offenses are elite now. And SEC has kind of caught up on offense. There for a while, they were kind of still not caught up to Big 12 even offensive wise, right? And now everybody is. I think it's harder for the defense. Let's see, one or two more comments here. What was I going to get to? Oh, look at Matt. Wow, what a year that would be, wouldn't it? No interceptions, 114 TD passes. Wow, number one pick in the NFL draft. Here's what I was going to say is, I don't know. I think this is a topic for tomorrow. I think it's a good conversation, Hunter. I want to talk tomorrow night. I want to talk a lot about the linebacking room, and here's why. OU and Alabama, number one, as far as the most Butkus Award winners, they both sit at 4. Can OU get their 5th this year in Danny Stutsman? And maybe the more important question, if you saw Danny Stutsman's hair today, what is the best hairstyle for Danny Stutsman? Tomorrow night on the show, you saw the little dreads today. What is it, a mullet? What would be, is it the boz cut? Hey, that we're going to do. Maybe
Danny Stutsman.
Maybe you
Danny
can do a graphic.
Stutsman needs the boz cut. He has some interesting hairstyles. Back with the twist. Danny Stutsman with the boz cut would be very cool. And maybe
what I think
I don't know.
You know what I think would be cool? The Teddy Lehman cut right now, straight bald.
I don't think they could pay him to do that.
You like that? Straight bald from Danny Stutsman?
I don't think they could pay him to do that right now. I don't think there's a chance.
Look at Mark. Hey, they're kids. They're college kids. Of course they're worried about their hair. I would be too. He's got a good set of hair too, by the way. Hey, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But hey, here's the thing. This week is going to ramp up in recruiting. It's going to ramp up in portal. Make sure you're subscribed. Listen, if you're on here and you're not subscribed to the Sooner Surge, make sure you do that. Also, hit the like button, please. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel. We try to do this every single night of the year as much as we can. 9:30 every night. We couldn't do it without you guys. You guys keep it going in the chat, so we appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you tomorrow. Boomer.